Return party message.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, December 21st, 2022, at 7 p.m. Roll call, please, Clerk Mosca.
Trustee Burbatt.
Here.
Trustee Caveney. Trustee Crowley.
Here.
Trustee Hilly.
Here.
Trustee Johnson. Trustee Killily.
Here.
You have Mayor LaRue.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I like you down there. I got more. Let the record reflect that Trustee Caveney is here in person. All right. Is there any, this time I open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? Fred, yes. Good evening,
Good
Fred.
evening, Fred.
Couple notes, every one of the trustees wanted an address, cars being parked, in front of the house. And the one address I have here right now is 14552 Holman Avenue on the west side. I have a little, use my cell phone, I can take a picture of it. And we have another one on 4510 St. Louis. The guy has an attached garage, it's a brick building. That's all I can say. I can't see his number on the house. He needs a garage in the back, and he decides to park in the front of his house on the lawn. And we have this other one on 14516 Trumbull. He has a plow and a trailer, and generally has a truck on the side in his front lawn all the time. So, and the other question, the other thing I bring up, what about the trailer that's at Abbotsford Road in Midlothian, on 146th Street, parked on the easement right away? Is that like a, semi-campground, or, I mean, it's a big trailer, it's not one of those little tow trailers, it's like a house trailer.
I'm not sure. DC, you got those addresses?
Yes, sir.
All right, you'll-
Yeah, I'll let somebody look into it.
Okay. Abbotsford and Millard, you said?
Yeah, it's on, actually, it's on, it's a corner three-way stop there, so it would be 146 Millard and Abbotsford Road.
Yeah.
People still parking across the sidewalks. I have two of my neighbors that, well, I talked to one the other day, and, he has a wheelchair bound, bike. He has to circle all the way around, or all the way to Sawyer to go on out. And he's afraid with the cold weather coming. I don't mind people parking with the 2-inch limit of snow plowing on their sidewalk to stay off the street, I understand that. But springtime, summertime, fall, there's no reason to be parking on the front lawn, let alone taking the asphalt up, sodding it, then putting your car, take the sod up and then put your car there. One guy, the first one I mentioned, 145th and 52 Holman Avenue, he would walk out of his car, they're already going in the house. I don't understand that kind of thing, with the lawn tore up. And, one other request I have, is it attainable to get a updated ordinance, violation pamphlet or code or whatever we put out here? I have the old one, but it's not old now.
They're all online now. We don't have a copy of the whole
Oh, yeah,
ordinance.
well,
It's all online.
Oh, okay. Well,
I have your number. I'll text you a link to it. I have your cell phone number, right? I think I have your cell phone.
Yeah, you should have it.
I'll send you a link to it so you can look up stuff.
And the other guy with the box trucks, now he has a double lot, the fence is all down, the guy's running a business. He's simply running a business. I don't see why his box trucks have to be across the side of it, not across the sidewalk, behind the sidewalk, and that makes it right. If you walk in that, or you drive through that area where I live, I don't know where I'm at, West Virginia, Sixthorn, Robbins. I mean, it's just plain and going to hell. Everybody seems to have their own idea how they want their things done. I think we get a little more conformity all through the village, in fact. These little things here push the village down a little bit, you know, I know every village has their problems, but bigger problems than what we have, but the little ones turn out to be big ones. Now the people who don't wanna
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time, and I wish everybody Merry Christmas, and I'll be here hopefully next week.
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas,
Fred.
Gene?
Okay, we all know Dylan, right? He's working to get 20,000 pounds of food. The fire department donated, and I think maybe the police department should make a donation too.
They've been making donations every week, Gene.
Awesome. Keep 'em
We've been
coming.
putting stuff in there every week.
Keep them coming. He wants to make 20,000 pounds of food, collected. And he's working really hard. Tomorrow he's gonna be on, I think it's CBS. And it was supposed to be a live interview, but because of the weather, they're going to do a Zoom interview. But it's already been on there once already. So let's support him, because he's a really good kid. And, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Gene. Merry
Oh,
Christmas, Gene.
Jackie,
Mhm.
the rain garden isn't lit up. Will the lights?
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay, well, I'll call Public Works.
She'll go out to right now.
Pardon?
She'll go out
Yeah,
right now.
no, she
Yeah,
won't.
go out there and,
You gotta reset the GFI breaker.
Mm-hmm, sure. Do you want the whole village to not have lights, Mayor? I'll reach out.
okay, thanks.
Anyone else for public comment tonight? All right, then I will close the floor to public comment. Move on to trustee business, trustee Burbett.
If you would, I would like to strike the first item on my part of the agenda.
You would like to postpone this for a later date?
It's something I think we want to discuss in economic. And that's all I have for tonight.
Duly noted. Thank you, sir. Trustee Hilly.
Oh, I just want to remind everybody or with the pending snowpocalypse, or maybe not, 1 to 78 inches, I don't know what it's gonna be, but, that, vehicles are to remain off village streets after 2 inches of snow and until snow removal is complete. And wish everybody here, all the village employees, all the residents, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will not be here next week. Hopefully I'll be back first of the year, having surgery to hopefully correct whatever it is wrong with my arm, so. That's it, sir.
Thank you, sir. And since you were unable to attend our meeting last week, we decided that we would sing happy birthday to you.
Today.
So,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
and
You're
many-
blushing.
Thank you. I probably am.
And many more. Many more.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, sir. Trustee Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. On my agenda, I just wanted to discuss the potential buyout of the business property at 14701 Colmar, which is, I refer to as the State Farm Building, because that's the predominant business that's in there. I did send you all late this afternoon a proposal that I received from an appraiser. I was referred to by Heartside Realty, and this appraiser would charge us $2,000 to do the appraisal on that property. I did reach out to another appraiser also today, because we were required to submit two, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. And I'm trying to reach out to a third one to get 3 quotes before we send out, but that'll be about it.
They're pretty-
The property owner has a survey that he had done on the property in 2020, but I'm sure MWRD would want an updated one, so we'll reach out to the survey company and see if they'll update that for us.
Is that what we're looking at these days, 2,000 for the appraisal? It's commercial property.
Commercial.
Yeah, it's commercial property, yeah.
I got three quotes for grade A.
Correct.
The one that we took was the lowest one.
And how much was that one?
I believe it was 2,000.
Was it 2,000?
The other ones were 3,000 and 2,500.
Okay. Yeah, so,
Okay, let us know.
yeah, so that's what's happening there. So I will keep you all posted on that.
So, since I'm behind the 8 ball here a
Oh,
little bit, but
okay.
MWRD is
possibly gonna buy this?
They have a buyout program, and
Right.
the property owner attended a webinar, and kind of under the gun, because the application is due like the middle of January. So, MWRD requires 2 appraisals and an updated survey, and they will review the application, and they will pay the property owner, they will buy out the property owner. They will pay the property owner, the property will get turned over to the village, then it's the village's responsibility to raise the building and do whatever it deems necessary to the property. And it'll have to remain green space. I'm hoping we can leave the parking lot the way it is, as a parking lot. I don't know if we need a parking lot at that end of town. I mean, we could take, that's not a decision we have to make right away.
What about the tenants?
Somehow, I don't know what happens with the tenants, to be honest with you. I know that we've, they have leasehold interest. I don't know if they will receive any type of monetary buyout as well, because their lease will get canceled and they'll have to move. Unless we have to honor their leases until their leases expire. I have no idea. I don't know what happens in that kind of situation with the tenants. But I'm gonna reach out to Rich at MWRD. He's the engineer that had the webinar, so I'll reach out to him on this and
One step at a time.
see what the deal is.
The only thing is that I'm just curious is about is that the business across the street, IDOC, has tremendous flooding problems also. And similar to what is getting talked about here, so.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree. If the IDOC property owner is interested and wants to come to the village and also inquire, we can, discuss it with them. The issue with the State Farm building is that the creek is, 10 feet behind the building. So it's right on the creek.
Right.
And, they only have the first floor. It's on a slab.
Right.
And when we had that big rain in August, they got water. They got 2 inches of water in the space.
Right.
And I know that when IDOC building, I know that their front parking lot takes on a lot of water. That whole intersection took on water on August 7th,
Right.
which was shocking to all of us.
Right.
I believe the basement of that building may get water, but I don't believe that the water, it doesn't have a negative impact on the actual business because that's above grade. It's an old Cape Cod, so you have to
Right,
walk
right.
up 4 or 5 steps to even get
Right.
into the business. So,
Right. And that's, yes, and whatever the first floor is, sometimes MWRD has a different definition of that.
right, exactly.
Okay. Should we talk to them, or?
I think we need to let MWD kind of tell us, because
Yeah.
I think we'll learn a lot from this first
Yeah.
attempt, based on scenarios and
Right.
elevations, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating to me that FEMA started the whole CRS and all this stuff with flooding and keeping track of floodplains and identifying floodplains in the 70s, okay? So they started all this in the 70s. I don't exactly recall when they started CRS, but they started all this documentation and started all this basically in the 70s. But there was never mandates, like the government never reached out to the states and counties and local municipalities to say, hey, we're seeing this trend. Maybe you shouldn't build houses with basements. The whole flippin' Midwest is a basement. We all have basements, so there was no, as far as I know, good communication. I know everybody hates government outreach, or, government overreach rather, but, when you're talking about property preservation, especially homes, that's our biggest investment of our life, And so when communities were allowed to continue building homes or buildings with basements in areas that were, historically known to be below sea level, doesn't really quite make a lot of sense, but we're stuck with it now, So I don't disagree with you on that particular property, but I think I kind of agree with the mayor. Let's get through this first process and see what it's all about, because this is our first foray in working with MWRD on a property buyout, so.
And I think you said in one of the emails that we're not allowed to ask them if it's a flood-prone
property. Is that what you're trying to tell? We're not allowed to keep a list,
We're not allowed to keep a list.
so we
It's-
don't know if it qualifies.
Right. FEMA is they're very, very strict about confidentiality for the homeowners. And when I go through our CRS activities every year, every community has identified what's called repetitive loss properties. A repetitive loss property is a property that sustains flooding, but they submit claims to FEMA. They have to have submitted, I think, more than one claim in a 10-year period. There are 6 properties in the village of Midlothian that are considered repetitive loss properties. I don't even know what those addresses are. I had received the list once, and it was in a very secure email that was sent to me, and it was one of those emails that, you open it up and you could read it, you could only open it once, and then once you close it, it's gone. It disappears. So we're required to send letters to the property owners that live within a 2-block radius of every one of these repetitive loss properties. So 5 years ago, when we started CRS, we were given the list of those 6 homes, I think, was shared with Robinson, and they had to create a map for us that showed us the boundaries. And then from that map, our very fabulous office staff helped me figure out all the addresses. And so that's how we know. So I have no idea who the repetitive loss properties are. It's a big CIA secret. As it
You
should
also
be.
stated the deadline for this round is
Middle of
January
January.
13th, so.
It's the middle of January for this, yeah. So anyways, yeah, so we can't reach out to anybody that's, again, the repetitive loss properties is based on, sure we have more properties than 6 in town, but it's based on FEMA getting a claim from a homeowner. And so people could flood, but if they don't submit a claim, then they're not on FEMA's radar.
All right.
So
Let us know.
anyhow, we'll keep you posted. And I think that's all I have. I may have something else. I'll raise my hand if I think of it.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Killedy.
Talk about Isabel or? Yeah. Okay, so just, I think the board saw emails from our Director of Finance and our village attorney regarding an as of our settlement with ComEd, which they were working on negotiating since 2017. But the question is, are we clear on what as of our does?
This was
Azavar is a company that audits different kinds of taxes that should come to the village. And in this case, ComEd should submit utility taxes for every property that is using power in the village of Midlothian. They found that some of the properties were in Midlothian, but were not being credited to Midlothian and not receiving the utility taxes we should have. Now, this was, I think we first contracted with ASVAR maybe 2016, 2017. They've been negotiating with a lot of different municipalities, and I guess everybody came to the consensus that this is the way it should run. And the village attorney, is that right? Basically, we're okay for next week to approve the settlement, in your opinion?
Yes, I just need to make some adjustments to the settlement agreement because ComEd put some provisions in there which I believe would hamstring the village board to respond to questions, to express their opinion. Their concern obviously is that we don't accept the settlement offer and then disparage it. But unfortunately, each elected member of the board has an obligation to be able to speak their minds freely. And if you recall, I have never accepted any of these confidentiality or muzzle provisions in the settlement agreements. And in the case of this one that is particularly troublesome is that ComEd is demanding that till 2025, if someone puts in a FOIA request for the settlement agreement, that we have to notify them before we release it. So that's putting a condition, a step on our releasing FOIA, and I simply have never accepted that as an allowed.
Well, is that even legal?
It's not legal.
It's legal for them to put it in there, but.
But is it legal for us, is it legal as a village for us to comply with that, that we have to notify them first?
It's legal, but it's not good practice at all.
Okay.
Again, because in 2025, who knows if any of us are going to be here, and we still have.
Oh, they just want to be noticed, they're not prohibiting us
Correct,
from
correct.
answering,
It's just
okay.
tell us before you release
Yeah.
it so we can prepare, but bottom line is they're not gonna do a darn thing about it.
No,
We're gonna
right.
release it, they can't do
Right.
anything about it, but bottom line is that I just have, on principle, I do not like to have the municipalities that represent, sign these multiple agreements.
Can I ask a question? I don't, if you sent us an email about it, I don't recall seeing it, but,
It's from the
It just came up.
oh, did we just get it recently? Okay.
I haven't seen it either.
If the village accepts this settlement offer, first of all, are we getting 100% of what's due to us? Or is it significantly less than what's really due to
It's
us?
a settlement. It's not, it could have been more, as I understand it, but as time went on, this has been negotiated since 2017, everybody sort of came to the opinion that how long do we want this thing to drag on? It's a fair settlement, I think, from what I,
But
from what
going forward, has ComEd agreed to that they are going to start paying us these utility taxes on all of these properties that
Yes,
they
this
had?
is all for mistakes that were made in collecting the tax up until the years that have been cited in the settlement agreement. So they're reimbursing us for what we were supposed to get. I would also note that the agreement with the auditing firm provides that out of the $16,117 that's the settlement amount, Azavar gets $6,890. So the net proceeds to the village are $8,421.
So all this wrangling for the past 5 years, over 16 grand, really?
ComEd fought
That
it.
should have been a
Well, it's not
one-hour
just-
conversation.
It's not just that, it's over going forward, what properties we're
Correct.
gonna
Right.
be collecting
What's,
this
it
tax
sets
on now.
precedent too. And it's
Okay.
not just with us, apparently a lot of villages had, a lot of municipalities had the exact same situation. So they was sort of negotiating almost like a class action, not a class action, but basically
as a group.
to set it, that everybody is, this is the rule, how it's gonna happen, so we won't have to wait 5 years to receive our back money that we should receive. It's just, well, here it is, you made ComEd, you didn't do it the way you're supposed to, here's what you did before, give us the money, rather than trying to have to negotiate it again and again and again and again.
And there are provisions within it that if ComEd paid the tax, but paid it to the wrong municipality, then to us, for someone else's taxes, because it goes both ways. Let's say over in the southwest portion of Midlothian Oak Forest, you have, the blurred lines over there. If ComEd paid us some monies that were supposed to go to Oak Forest, and under Oak Forest audit, that would be deducted.
Right. So when you have that document ready and you say it's okay to vote on it, then we will vote on it.
Yes, and like I
Okay.
said, it's just gonna be minor issues with just simply striking those requirements.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley.
Actually, I just have one thing under trustee Johnson's business. Trustee Johnson has on the agenda this evening the discussion of Ride-In, the quote from Ride-In to provide us with our vehicle stickers, pet tags, and motorcycle stickers for 2023. The total quote is $4,675, which is approximately a 10% increase from last year. Did anybody have any questions?
This is just the printing, correct?
The printing of the stickers and the making of the tags, correct. If no one has any questions, I'd ask you to put on the consent agenda for next week.
And then the stickers, the processing of the stickers is coming back in-house, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's all I have.
That's it? Attorney Valdez?
Just to wish everyone happy holidays, stay safe, and enjoy.
Thanks. I don't have anything under my business other than to say the same thing. Merry Christmas, everyone, and happy holidays. enjoy some good food and enjoy the weather we have coming. That's gonna be
Oh,
fun.
boy.
Clerk Moscow.
I have nothing, sir.
Thank you, sir. Seeing there's no further business come before the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Wonderful.